fires. I've burnt through probably a cord and a half of wood this season, and we've still got, I don't know, a couple weeks left. So it's been nice. It's been really nice. I actually burnt through an andiron, the back little leg part of the andiron that you put the wood on top of. I guess it just got too hot, and when I put a piece of wood on it, it just kind of broke. So it kind of makes me feel a little bit of pride. But yeah, so we've been working on honoring the fight these past 2 weeks, and what I've tried to do is articulate the fight as a kind of thing that we're all dealing with. And there's an aspect to our kind of being, ourselves, our lives, our nervous systems that is, revved up, and we've got to honor that and respect it, And that doesn't mean, it doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, like you have to do this or you have to do that. But it does mean that you need to pay attention to this. And you need to be paying attention to how your body is kind of responding to this threat. And your body will guide you. The problem, for example, that veterans often face is that their body has been trained to be quiet. And so there's the guidance isn't recognized. And so the guidance doesn't show up till it's, almost too late. And so now we go into support the healing, which is if your body's not showing up, if you don't know how to pay attention to your body, and it shows up when you're kind of already at the waterfall, you're about to fall off the waterfall, you need to go and get more professional support. So if things are really getting really rocky, if things are really starting to speed up and starting to spiral, you need to go and get support. And so what I'm trying to encourage you to do is pay attention now. Get really good at listening to your body now, which we show you how to do with the 4 bells. And that way your body will be telling you, you'll be able to kind of be on top of it so that well before the waterfall, well before the crash, you're kind of on top of things. And so that's the objective. That's the objective of this month. And honoring the fight is just, hey, look, it's not an easy thing to do, to deal with a pandemic that's once in 100 years. I mean, we're literally living through a once in 100 years event. And that's pretty amazing, and it's pretty altering. And just, respect it. So now we're moving into the support to healing. And so the first thing I want you to think about is learning from my mistakes. So the mistakes that I made when I came back from Iraq was I didn't think much of the experience of being deployed. I didn't give that much credit to the experience of being blown up. I didn't get I just didn't give it that much respect. And a part of the reason why I didn't give it respect was just laughing in the face of danger, or scoffing at the enemy, like, ha, whatever. That was kind of part of the procedure, you just, whatever, fuck it, drive on, suck it up. And I didn't start respecting things until things really started to get bad. So that's the first thing I want to point out, and I want you to kind of think about this, is if you do something on a regular basis, if it's a pattern, okay, your brain literally starts to wire together. It comes together, wires together. And they have this phrase in the brain world: if it wires together, it fires together. So it literally comes together. Now here's some other analogies for that. You know your skin, right? When you puncture your skin meshes itself back together. Okay. Below that's the fascia. You know your fascia, which is the kind of the stuff that surrounds everything under your skin. That stuff wires together. You know your muscles, okay? You know your muscles when they kind of break apart during exercise. You know they wire together. You know your bones come back together. So you know this. You already know that this kind of thing happens. So I don't think I have to explain that much to you regarding that. Now, when it comes to exercise, everybody knows how important form is, right? Everybody knows that you gotta keep your core engaged, and you've got to make sure that you're aware of your shoulder. So you wouldn't, if you're exercising like this, right? That's just silly. You wouldn't want to do that, because if you develop this as a pattern, that's your performance goes down and you're just not as good, right? Everybody knows that. So we know that a lot around the body, physicality, exercise, stuff like that. What we have less awareness around is in terms of thinking, thoughts, and thought processes. Excuse me. So if your response to a particular action or event is to downplay it, or to move on to something else, or to just distract yourself, that response will literally be wired into the stimulus. So, stimulus response. Your stimulus gets triggered, your response starts to essentially weave into it, and if that response is weaved in enough, then it will happen almost automatically. Downplay something, burst in anger, quickly move on to something else, turn into a victim, project it on someone else, grab a substance, grab food, grab alcohol. These patterns that we do literally wire themselves into our brain so that it becomes easier and we become better at doing them. And if those patterns are unsustainable, you are making yourself better at unsustainable patterns. You got to know that. You got to know that. So that's the thing I want you to think about today. Think about how all of your patterns, if you've got a pattern that you do on a regular basis, it's literally wired into your brain. The reason why it's wired is the same reason why your skin wires back together. The same reason why your muscles thread back together. The same reason why your fascia threads back together. All that stuff is just part of how the body does things. So you want to know that, and you want to know that the opposite's also true. So if you wire in gratitude, if you wire in optimism, if you wire in faith and hope, they also wire in. So you can work it both ways. What I want to show you, and what the 4 bells show you, is how to pay attention to what's behind the thinking, to understand your mind and to understand your thinking, and to know how to pay attention to it, to know where it shows up, to be respectful and engaged with what's going on, so that your body can kind of inform you of how things are evolving, and you can get kind of in the groove before things start to kind of get out of whack, out of kilter. And mostly what I'm trying to say is, we've got the resources out there that'll support you, if things really, really get bad, which is wonderful. I mean, we didn't used to, but it doesn't have to get really bad before you start to kind of take a more active role in supporting your mental readiness. So With that, let's get to the 4 bells and we'll finish up for the morning. Tired, sleepy. So with eyes closed or eyes open, it's your call, light and shadow. So if my eyes are closed, I can tell that there's plenty of light right in front of me. But I also notice to my right there's more shadow. So I'm aware of light and shadow even with my eyes closed. From there I go into sense of sound. If I'm the center of a clock, in front of me is 12 o'clock, behind me is 6 o'clock, to my left is 9 o'clock, to my right is 3 o'clock. And I extend the circumference of that clock out to the farthest sound that I can hear. How big does the clock get? Now, inside of that sound perimeter, where are the other sounds located? Situate them on the clock so you kind of have a visual of where all the sound are. Now, if everything's calm, comfortable, and predictable, and you don't have to be kind of spread out to assess everything, zoom in on one sound and look for some patterns inside that. Come in a little closer to the body. Notice temperature of the body. Are there areas of the body that feel colder, warmer? Are there multiple temperatures around the body that you can tell, that you can notice? Remember, what you're doing is you're studying the present moment with your senses. So you're taming the mind, bringing the mind into the present moment. Check out smell. You smell anything? Come inside even further from smell to taste. Just notice the inside of your mouth. The inside of your mouth feels like, maybe what you can taste on the inside of your mouth. Let's go to bell 2. Just notice your ground, what's beneath you. Notice the solidity of what's beneath you, the reliability of what's beneath you, the consistency, the certainty of the ground beneath you. Now move up to the pelvis region. And while you're at the pelvis region, just say to yourself, I have legs that end in feet. So your pelvis includes the legs all the way down to the feet. So you've got what's beneath you, then you've got these legs in the pelvis. Pelvis with legs that end in feet. So you kind of think of the whole structure from the pelvis down. If there's any part of that that's uncomfortable, feel free to make the adjustment. You're not locked into stillness. You can move to what feels good. Now from the pelvis, move up to your core. Now take your hands and just kind of move your hands around your core. Feel your core. So literally like move your hands around your core, move them around to the back of your core, move your hands around to the sides of your core, and literally feel with your hands your core. And let your hands drop, and then just notice your core without touching it, and see if you can feel fabric of clothing, or see how your core just shows up with it just sitting there. Now move up from your core, get to the heart space. So heart space, shoulder blades, arms. Feel a little movement through that region. Move the shoulder blades a little bit. Notice where your shoulder blades are in relation to your ears. Just move them around. Maybe move through the chest a little bit. Mindset is curious here, learning here. Noticing just the way the body's moving today. Most of the time, if everything's good, the body will just move without much to do. You know, there's just moves. Just feel that. And as you're kind of moving around just a little bit, you know, maybe notice how the movement of your shoulder blades moves your hands. So if your hands are resting on your knees, maybe there's this sense of, you can feel your hands sliding a little bit. Maybe you can feel the fabric of your clothing sliding on your skin a little bit. Maybe you can feel how if you pull your shoulders back in together, you feel the front body move a little bit. So just notice how this region has a lot to offer by way of sensation. And then from here, come up to your throat. Feel the outsides of your throat, jaw. Maybe there's some movement of the head that would feel good. Then collect spit in your mouth and swallow. Feel the muscles of your throat swallow your spit down, noticing the insides of your throat. Now from here, see if you can take a slow breath and feel the air coming into your throat. See if you can feel the slow air traveling down the throat on the inhale. Can you feel it on the way back up? Exhale. Now move up to the top of the head, top of the spine. Just think of, I have a spine. I have a back. I have a back body. And just try to feel that whole spine. And just it's like a mantra or a grounding statement. You know, I have a spine. I have a back body. Try to feel that whole spine. Now, with your spine alert, let's relax everything else, starting with the face. Relax the forehead, eyebrows, nose, mouth, cheeks, chin. attack the vagus nerve, throw a little smile on there. How about like a like a like a laugh, like kind of big smile, right? Kind of manufacture that sense of happiness. Yay, big smile. It's like ridiculous if you put a big smile on your face. Just feel that and then kind of let that go. Let that just settle to normal. Third bell. Breathe in as big as you can. Just really breathe in huge. And let it out slow. Try to keep everything moving through your nose. Now while you breathe in really, really big again, see if you can notice the location of where the breath is. So if it's moving and expanding, see if you can notice where that movement and expansion takes place. Now if it went up, right, if you felt the expansion go up, see if you can, on your next round of really big full breathing, you can make the expansion go down. See if you can feel the expansion down. Now vice versa, if it went down, see if you can take it up. Now flip that back and forth. So some expansion goes up and then you switch, then it goes down, and then you switch. So you're practicing this being the observer and the observed, right? So you're the observer, right? You're watching what's taking place, but you're also the observed. You're the thing that is taking place. So it's this cultivation of this dual engagement where you're both the part of you're the chooser, right? You're the thing that's making the choice and doing the thing, but you're also what's being done. So it's this really interesting relationship that we have where we realize that we're both. So you're the thing that is watching and choosing, but you're also the thing that's being done, right? So it's this interesting space that we get to occupy, and that's the space of awareness. So when you're ready, go ahead and switch again. So you're going up or down, down or up. Now maybe do that one more time. And just be still. And when you're still and you're not doing anything, there's an element to stillness that enables you to watch the things that take place when there's nothing going on. So you might not be doing anything in particular, but there's still a lot going on. think back over your weekend and think about some things that you're really grateful for. Is there anything that took place over the weekend that was just really terrific? Maybe it's food, maybe it's an activity, maybe it's just time with the family. Maybe it was just a show or a new thing, or maybe it was the weather that was really cool. Maybe you got to talk to someone on the phone that you haven't talked to in a while. And then when you've cultivated a sense of kind of connection to your heart through gratitude, shift your focus from yourself to someone else or a group of people. And imagine that the goodwill that you have in your own heart can be shared with someone who's struggling, who's having a hard time. Imagine you've got this goodwill that you can share, and you picture it moving out in an invisible string from your heart connecting to theirs. And maybe you can imagine that each heartbeat is sending through this invisible string little moments, little bursts of goodwill that goes directly into their heart and helps them just feel a little bit better. You know how some days you just feel better than others? I want to imagine that, on the days that I just feel better, someone has, done this for me. They've sent me a little bit of goodwill, and even though I never felt it, or I don't realize it, or I'll never realize it, I just feel better. And maybe you could do that for someone else. Maybe each time you do that, it makes them feel just a little bit better. And then join me in a mindful moment of compassion for those that are just really struggling. The people that we don't know personally, but that we know are really having a hard time. People especially that may be suicidal, that may be really stuck in these really, really difficult mindsets. People who have, been blindsided by a series of events that are just now crushing them. Just imagine that your goodwill is shooting out in all directions without any direction that is other than like a heat-seeking, a support-seeking missile, right? Imagine your goodwill is just being sent out into the world looking for those that are having a hard time and will find it. That your goodwill will reach out, not knowing where it's going, but will find someone that could be helpful. Almost take a breath in, cultivate all the goodwill that you can in your heart. And then as you exhale, send it all out in every single direction, finding those people where a little bit of goodwill might be the difference between a good thought and a bad thought. Let's take 2 more breaths, and we'll finish on the exhale. Second exhale. All right. Thank you, Armor Down. That's it. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.